What's poppin' YouTube? It's Q back at it again. Another Q reviews. Oh boy. Today we are going to talk about Black Widow. And why are we going to talk about Black Widow? We're going to talk about Black Widow because we're very invested into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We're very invested into comic book films, adaptations, shows, everything. Everything comic book related we're into, especially with Marvel. Black Widow. Black Widow is the first film in phase 4 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Scarlett Johansson reprised her role as Natasha Romanoff, aka Black Widow, for the 9th time and probably the final time. We see Black Widow, and this is her own movie, and this movie follows the events after Captain America Civil War and before Avengers Infinity War. A lot of people are asking, what is this story about? And I'll tell you, this story is about family. Whose family? Well, it's about Black Widow's family. This is the family that no one cares about. Why? Because it's absolutely irrelevant. With this movie, I can say I didn't like a single thing, but I will tell you what I didn't like. So let's talk about it. The first thing I didn't like the concept. This movie missed the ultimate concept of Natasha telling her story about what happened after Civil War and before Infinity War. The writing team missed the perfect opportunity. Why? Because this movie should have come out 8 years ago. Didn't have to be about what happened with Civil War and Infinity War. She deserved her movie 8 years ago. We know that. But in a perfect world, this movie would have started off with Natasha and Clint, who's Hawkeye, in the Quinjet during the time travel mission in Endgame. And Clint would ask, Natasha, you never told me what you've been up to. What happened after the fight at the airport? Natasha could brush it off and say, it's a long story. And Clint could say, hey, we control time. We have time. Why don't you tell me what happened? And Natasha could say, well, here's what happened. We get into the movie. We see what happens after Civil War all the way until Infinity War, where she and Captain America are on the run. And it ends with them back on the Quinjet before they get to Vormir, and she could say, and that's what happened. And you know what? The movie is golden. She told the story. We already know what's going to happen to her. But no, Marvel didn't do that. They're not going to give us that. Another thing I didn't like the comedic presence in this movie. This movie does a terrible job at being funny. Why? Why does it do a terrible job at being funny? Because there's absolutely nothing funny about the situation they're in. Another thing I didn't like, the music. Someone at Disney thought it would be a great idea to remake Smells Like Teen Spirit by Nirvana. Shame on whoever thought that was a good idea. Another thing I didn't like, the dialogue. The dialogue in this movie is absolute dog shit. And last but not least, the thing that I really hated about this movie was that it existed as a creation of post-Endgame and an introduction to Phase 4. It's clear, like I said before, she deserved a movie 8 years ago. It's clear, we know that, the public knows that, everyone knows that. Anyone who has seen an MCU movie knows that she deserved this 8 years ago. This movie seems like a very clear cash grab from Marvel. After sitting through this movie and watching it and digesting it, it's hysterical to think that Captain Marvel got a movie before Black Widow. I laughed when I thought about it as I was riding home. Sit there and digest this movie and see, to understand that this is the product that we got. She put 10 years into the MCU, and this is what we get for her solo film. And for this to be the first film in Phase 4, the only thing that I can think of, like, to be positive is that they have no choice but to go up from this. That's the only thing. Like, there's no way they can make anything more terrible than this. Like, I'm sure of it. Overall, I give this movie a 2 out of 10. This movie is a disjustice to Black Widow, to Scarlett Johansson, and the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This movie is on Disney Plus Premier Access and it's in theaters. I highly recommend that you do not see this in theaters and that you do not pay $29.99 for this movie on Disney Plus. I would highly suggest that you wait until it's free and wait until you're just absolutely inebriated and then watch the movie. So in the comment section, first of all, I apologize if you have seen it, but if you have, let me know what you thought. And if you haven't seen it, tell me why you're looking forward to seeing it, or if you're not looking forward to seeing it. And that's all. As always, until next time, be safe, tell someone you love them, and make sure to like, subscribe, share, subscribe to CltrStudios. And if you like this song, make sure to stream it. The link is in the bio. Until next time, it's Q from Q Reviews. Peace.